place where it's like an online website where you can go to voice concerns about ethical issues, and you can do it anonymously.
Yeah, it's a third-party organization that you can access either online or on the phone. We've got posters, and new posters will be going up, but you can report your concerns. And I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in a moment. And as Kim said, I'm going around and talking to all of the regional retreats around ethics and compliance. So we're taking action, we're responding, and that's not all we're doing. I mean, we had a meeting with a bunch of directors a few weeks ago where we talked about some of the compliance concerns that we have. We're looking at how we make sure we're using common language so people understand why we're talking about these issues. But this isn't everything that we're going to do. It doesn't stop after the regional retreats. We keep on talking about compliance and we keep thinking about it. I think this room is one of the most important rooms in terms of compliance. I also think that all the people outside this room are really important when it comes to talking about compliance, which is why at the regional retreats, when everyone says there's going to be a lot of program people, I think that's great. It's a chance to talk about compliance with people that don't necessarily think about compliance all the time. But I was writing this list and thinking about who's going to be in this room today, and I thought, well, every single one of us has a really important role. I don't know, does someone from accounting want to suggest what their important role from a compliance perspective would be? Not that important? No? No one? No one from accounting thinks they have an important role in compliance?
I mean, I think there's a joint role with the program group to make sure that we invoice by donor, we comply with the donor agreement.
Yeah.
Invoice.
Yeah.
That's joint.
Yeah, it's joint. I mean, all of these are joint. Program side has to give us relevant information. They have to give us accurate information first of all. But we all have a role, and it could be in terms of the pieces of paper that land in front of us and looking at it and questioning it. It could be, are we making sure that bills, reports, things are being prepared on time and meeting donor compliance requirements. It could be external legal obligations. It could be, I think one of the things Kim mentioned was, on her slides, was meeting debt covenant requirements. That's all compliance areas. They're all things that we have to comply with. Procurement, what's a big procurement role that could be played in compliance?
You guys do it all the time. What do you do? What's your big activity in procurement?
Everyone's forgotten what they do. They're like, come on, it's Thursday afternoon, it's really hot. The quicker you answer, the quicker I move on.
Making sure that we get competitive bids.
Yes. Making sure we get competitive bids. Yeah. Chris, you were going to say something? Was that? Transparency, making sure that we're making decisions that we can easily explain to our donors. That doesn't, we may not be able to have a competitive bid, but can we justify it? Can we explain it? Where's Peter for travel? Where is he? Oh, is he not here?
Peter?
No. I was going to say, I think he has an important role, because there's a lot of money going through travel, and he's got an important role in playing, again, in making sure that our pricing for our travel is right and that we're actually allowed to do the travel. So I think, Laura made a good point. It's dependent on what happens from the program side, but our role is important. Everyone has a role to play. Our code of conduct actually requires every single one of us to take responsibility for reporting an ethics violation. So, employees who become aware of any suspected, planned, or actual violations of laws, regulations, financial or accounting standards, PSI policy, including the code of conduct, by an officer, director, employee, or any other person connected with PSI, should immediately report this as directed in our whistleblower policy. And we are all expected to cooperate fully with any investigation by PSI or a government authority into a possible violation. Every single one of us has that responsibility. And that can be a suspicion, it could be an actual thing that you've seen, it could just be a concern. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole whistleblowing policy, but I would encourage you to make sure that you read that. It doesn't take very long. But the main point is, if you're not sure, please raise a concern to someone. Go to your supervisor, come to whoever in this room that you feel comfortable to, that's in a manager or director position. Come and talk to us and raise your concern. It doesn't mean that we're definitely, you don't have to be convinced that something definitely has happened, but raise the concern, raise a question, come and discuss things, because we need to know. We mentioned ethics point. If you don't feel comfortable talking to someone that you report directly to, or if you think it involves someone that you think is senior and don't want to come and raise that yourself, you can go through ethics point. It's independent third party. The reports will come directly to, there's a group of us that receive them, but if my name was I'm one of the people, if my name was mentioned as one of the people that you had concerns about, I wouldn't be able to see the report, so things are kept segregated. You can report anonymously, you can report online, you can report on the phone. We will get these posters out. You can find information on Kix. You don't need to write numbers down and be worried about that. And it's, as I said, it's anonymous. But the main, my main message here is, please raise questions, please raise concerns. If we don't know about possible violations, or if you go directly to an outside person without telling us, we don't have a chance to try and fix it. We don't have a chance to investigate and see whether there is actually an issue. We don't have a chance to educate people within PSI as to why their action may not be appropriate. People make honest errors. Sometimes what a violation is not because someone intended to go out of their way and do something that they shouldn't have done. Sometimes people don't know what they're supposed to do, and so we need education. Does anyone have